Alright, so I just started watching Classroom of the Elite, and not gonna lie, I really don't know how to feel about this show. But by the end of the video, I will determine if this show is an utter flop or if I like it. But mind you, this show does have a lot of backstab. So to determine if I like it or not, I'm gonna grade it by a 3-point system. And these 3 points consist of deceit, lie, and capping your asshole. And when all of these things are combined, they create what I like to call maximum treasure. So without further ado, let's get into whoa. Get your weird ass on. What kind of fucking school is this? Do these niggas live at Disneyland? Like, what's going on? Is that a movie theater? So the series starts us off in an assembly, introducing us to some pivotal characters in the story, mainly my boy Anakoji and the infamous Class 1D.
Name is Kikyo Kushi.
Man, shut the fuck up, bitch. Don't nobody want to talk to your ugly ass stale face. I apologize. I just really do not like it. Anyways, we learned that at the start of each month, each of our students is awarded 100,000 points, which is equivalent to. So you can assume that they're gonna spend their points rationally so that it'll last until the end of the month. Or, man, fucking nigga, we ball. So as you can assume, Class 1D is very careless with the points that they were awarded, and they also are very off task. And here goes some more scenes of this weird ass bitch fiending for friendship from Koji. Why can't she just leave me alone? But at the start of the second month, the students are surprised that they haven't been restocked with points. They're all confused until they're given a speech by their teacher that went a little something like, "You dumbass." She then informs them that they'll only be gaining their points back and avoid being expelled if they all pass the exam coming up. But 3 days right before the test, Pseudo decides to get into an altercation with Class C and their head honcho. But before Ryuin and Pseudo could continue their altercation, this one bitch pops up and threatens to tattletale on the both of them. But moving along, my boy Big Koji decides to strike up a negotiation between one of the upper classes. In exchange for points, he wants the exam questions and answers from the previous year. So everything's looking pretty good and like they're on the up and up for Class 1D. They're all hype as shit. But when they announced the test results for that day, guess who failed that motherfucker? This motherfucker Pseudo got a 39 on his test. How the f do you get a 39? Did you even try? So because of this dumbass nigga mess, my boy Koji and Horikita had to strike up a deal with the teacher. So to prevent Pseudo from getting expelled, they had to offer their teacher 100,000 combined points. Look at them all happy in the dorm room party eating chips. You didn't earn those. Take those out your mouth. So Kikyo asks Koji how they managed to protect Pseudo. And Koji makes it seem like it was all Horikita's idea. And this makes our girl furious.
I hate your guts. I swear to God, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I wish we just dropped dead, Horikita. I hate you. I hate you. You stupid bitch.
Boy, I sure hope I don't blow my cover.
Is someone spying on?
Well, too late. So after Koji catches Kikyo in the act of being an utter bitch, she shows her true colors by threatening to tell the entire school that he attempted to grape her. She does this by gathering his fingerprints in a sensitive area so that she'll have proof. He then agrees to never speak a word of this, and they both go their separate ways. Moving on, we have some more drama with Pseudo, as in he got into a fight with Class C. So Ryuin had his classmates beat up so that he could frame Pseudo for giving them a Randy Orton smackdown. But Ryuin failed to realize that there was an eyewitness present at the scene of the event. And her name is Sakura. And no, not this useless delusional hoe. We can't stand this. But Sakura has social anxiety, so Horikita and Koji had to take her to the computer store so that they could get her camera fixed. Is there foreshadowing here? So we arrived at the trial for Soda and his case against Class C. And I'm gonna be honest, everything was looking terrible. They were losing the case up front. Pseudo was acting belligerent and Horikita was off in La La Land. So Koji had to step up and do what he had to do. After squeezing the f out of her waist, he had to check her and let her know that, hey bitch, we're losing this case. You need to get on your A game. And after checking Horikita, she finally got it together and she started questioning Class C. They started blaming Pseudo for the attack by just basically saying that he was big and aggressive. But there were many plot holes and flaws to their evidence and their arguments, so she decided to bring out her eyewitness. But even after Sakura came in and proved with evidence that Pseudo wasn't the one who caused the altercation, Class C and Class D's teacher decided to come into an agreement. They decided that Pseudo needed a 2-week suspension while the other boys get 1. And this was based on the severity of the boys' injuries. But after senseless back and forth, the student council president decided that if no one could come out with proper evidence by the end of the day, that all of them would be expelled. So as per usual, my nigga Koji got to step in and save this bitch. Horikita and Koji devised a plan to get Class C to let go of their statement by showing them that their fight took place in front of a camera. They let them know that the school could have expelled them at any time, but they just wanted to see who was honest and who wasn't. So by letting go of the accusations, none of them could get expelled. But since they fear Ryuin so much, they decided to try to contact him. But in the end, they had to go along with it because if they didn't, they would have got caught on camera trying to beat up Horikita. Moving along, we now realize why Sakura has social anxiety. You guys remember how moments ago she was freaking out in the computer store because she saw this creepy ass dude? Well, this is the guy on top of her right now without her consent. But right on time, Superman aka Anakoji came to stop this attack. Koji threatened the assaulter that he was going to release the video and expose him in front of everybody. He then gets stopped in his tracks and hawked down by the police and gets arrested. And not too long after this, the student council president offered Anakoji a spot on the student council. His supervisor tried to get him to oppose this decision, but it didn't matter because Koji was just like, F you. Moving forward, we see Ryuin punishing his classmates because of how they folded in the pseudo incident. Moving forward, on summer break, class 1D's teacher threatens Anakoji. She threatens him with expulsion and the use of his freedom if he doesn't do exactly what she says. What a conniving bitch. So sadly, Koji has to cooperate with her. Wait, when did we get on a yacht? Huh? Anyways, class A through D is sent to a desert island for a school assignment. They'll be awarded numerous class points if they're able to survive on this desert island for 7 days. Meanwhile, we see Ryuin and class A's president doing something very shisty. More foreshadowing? Anyways, class D is trying to figure out a strategy to survive better on this desert island for 7 days, so they realize that they need to find better land. So while Koji and Sakura are off looking for some, they run into class A's president. They notice that he's moving very suspiciously, so they decided to hide out and wait for him to leave. After they realized that class A's president was gone, they decided to scope the area. Damn, Koji, I didn't know that you had the shorties rattled up like that. They discover that class A is hiding out there, but they don't know exactly who the group leader is going to be, so they decide to leave. Back at the camp for class D, Hirata asked Koji if he could go out and look for some firewood. So while Koji, Sakura, and this other useless ass are looking for firewood, they notice that somebody is hurt. This is Ibiki from class C, and when they realized that she was injured and she got abandoned by her camp, they offered her some aid. And back at camp for class D, things are looking good because we got fire, we got food, we're lit. But amongst each other, class D decided that they needed a strategy to gain points but also preserve. They figured out that if they could find their own food and not use the food that the school provided them, and also get their own water, that they could save points. Every man in himself has the most dangerous traitor of all. Is this more foreshadow? Anyways, Hirakita and Koji decided to check out everybody else's camp to see how the competition was doing. They were jealous of class B, but they found out they were good. Then they decided to see how class A's camp was doing, but then they got halted at the entrance. Hirakita threatened to get them expelled from the challenge, but then the leader of class A walked out. He said, and I quote, "If they don't get the fuck out of there expeditiously, then they're gonna have a bigger problem on their hands." That fucking ass whoop. So Koji and Hirakita decided to cut their losses and ended up leaving. Wait a minute, is class C having a... Is this a whole fucking function? So Hirakita and Koji walk up to class C's leader Ryuin and ask him why is he throwing a whole class party. Ryuin says that he doesn't care about wasting their resources because they don't want to participate in the game anyway. He's selfishly using up all the resources so his class can go back on the boat and just enjoy the rest of their trip. But this in fact may not be the case, as we go inside Ibiki's bag and find something that might have to do with future events. Foreshadow. Meanwhile, the rest of the boys in Camp D get woken up by the girls, and they inform Hirata that there is a panty thief on the loose. So the girls are on a rampage threatening every single boy that was at the camp, claiming that they all had something to do with stealing Hirata's girlfriend's panties. While the guys claim that they had nothing to do with it, the girls demand a bag check. And while preparing for the bag check, we notice something very strange in Ike's bag. Wait, could it be caught red-handed? But Ike insists that he wasn't the panty thief, and he decides to give it to Koji because he's a better person, and apparently the scapegoat for this series. But when Hirata does the search, he acts like he doesn't find anything on Koji and lets him off the hook. Moving along, we realize that Hirakita has come down with a high fever, and while her and Anakoji discuss strategy, he lets her know how he saw Class A's key card, but didn't know if they all looked the same, so he convinced her to show him the key card. Hirakita and Anakoji come to understanding, and they say that they're gonna keep this under wraps. But then out of nowhere, this random ass decides to do some nut shit. He just randomly dumps a big old pile of shit on her head and thinks it's funny. That's why he got kablammed in this scene. Moving forward, Hirakita needs to talk to Anakoji in private, so they decide to take a walk. And she proclaims to Anakoji that she lost the key card.
You serious right now, bro?
But Anakoji gives her grace and lets her know to keep everything under wraps. But back at camp, a fire's burning! A fire's burning! After the fire gets under control, the boys and girls get into another argument. But meanwhile, while the boys and girls are going back and forth, Hirakita runs into Ibiki in the rain. She claims that she knows that Ibiki is the one that's a traitor in camp and knows that she's the one that stole the key card. Ibiki insists that it wasn't her and she allows her to try to check her, but then kicks her in her face. They ended up having a brawl in which Hirakita ended up getting her cheeks bust. Nighty night, shorty. Then we see that Ibiki actually was the one that stole the key card, and she ends up giving it to a certain somebody who we might know. Moments later, Anakoji woke her up from getting knocked out. She tells Anakoji that Ibiki was the traitor all along. But he lets Hirakita know that she's way too sick to go on, so he takes her back to the ship so that she could sleep there for the rest of the time. Now it's the final test day, and everyone has to submit who they think is the class leader in the opposite class. Some classes decide to answer, but others leave it blank because they truly do not know. As all the classes round back up at the beach, we're in for the biggest plot twist ever. Ryuin didn't fold. He actually stayed on the island the entire time. Then we get a flashback about how Ryuin and Class A's president struck up a deal that if Ryuin could get the names of all of the group leaders, Class A would give them around 200 points. So by doing this, he spent all of the Class's S points to let them go back on the boat while he stayed in the forest. He then had Ibiki spy on Class D's camp so that they could obtain the information that they needed for Class A. But whole time, while Ryuin was preparing in the forest for the last day of the test, we learned that he gained all those names just so that he could backstab Class A. He never just wanted 200 points from Class A. He wanted to win the entire game for himself. So by Class A giving Class C all those S points in the beginning, and him learning the name of every group leader, it was a foolproof plan for him to win.
Class C with 0 points.
What the fuck? This plan didn't work, and it also caused Class A to lose, and Class D came out on top, as I always knew they would. Anakoji lets Hirokita know that he was behind the win for Class A. We get a flashback about how he broke Ibiki's camera so that she couldn't take pictures. He also bribed what's his name for a distraction so that Hirokita could leave the key card unattended and Ibiki could take it. This man is an evil mastermind. He cannot be stopped. He even figured out that Class A's president wasn't even the real group leader. It was random folks with the green hair. He even peeped that the walkie-talkie on Ryu's table was the same one that he found in the woods. Anyways, we learned that the teacher is being set up by Anakoji's father to take him out of the game. But he lets her know that he's well aware of his father's plots and won't let them get in the way of what he's trying to accomplish. It's then revealed to us at the end of the series that Anakoji really doesn't care about anybody. He's selfish and obnoxious. He's not here to help anyone. He's only here for his own success because he's trying to become a part of the classroom of the elite. Anyways, that was Classroom of the Elite, and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of decent. I didn't overly like it, but it was solid. For a lying score, I would give it a 7 out of 10. These niggas know how to get away from the truth. For deceit and capping your ass off, I would also give it an 8 out of 10. Because the way Ryuen did Class A was just straight up diabolical, even though he didn't get what he wanted. So all in all, the maximum treachery score gets a solid 7.5 out of 10. I don't know if I plan on watching season 2, but if I do, I'm gonna make a follow-up video. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I sure did making it, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next. Whoa. What did I tell you about that weird shit?